The NFL kneel, protest, whatever, or stay in the locker room because, kneeling is so last week. No, staying in the locker room is real protesting. The reason why everyone's fed up with this is because of progressivism. This is the hypocrisy and falsity of progressivism at work. Why did nobody watch the Emmys? For the same reason that the NFL has lost a fifth of its viewers and is continuing to lose more this season as they continually become more and more political. Where the NFL has to be a venue to talk to you about race and fucking all that shit. No. Okay. We don't want to be protested to by the most elite and spoiled and fortunate and wealthy among us. Okay? I'm sorry. Seasonally, for 5 months out of the year, you play a game like what kids do in the park. You play a game seasonally for tens of millions of dollars. You live in mansions that are 6 times bigger than my fucking house. You got 3 pools. You got 5 cars. Most of them are cars I've never even seen with my eyes outside of a magazine. Shit that has to get flown in from fucking Italy or brought in on a boat on a container ship or some fucking shit. Alright, because you can afford to do that. And you fucking jet down to the coast to fucking pick it up and drive it home on your fucking private jet, or at least your leased private fucking jet. Fucking, fuck you. You don't get to tell me shit. Okay? You do not know shit. Okay? Maybe up until you got the free college ride, the free ride to scholarship, because everybody in the NFL was the most successful college football players. Almost, not all of which, but most of which got full ride scholarships. Some of them took the scholarship seriously. Some of them just did what they had to do to pass, getting a degree so they continued to play ball. Okay? So you played ball and got as many kickbacks as we could legally give you as an amateur. Sometimes more than what it was legal, until you hit the NFL, where you just get handed millions and millions of dollars to go play a game. And then you're going to tell me about oppression and struggle. You don't know shit, okay? I'm from the 90s, okay? In the 90s was reality, okay? If we had some measure of somewhat unfair and ignorant propaganda throughout our culture in the 90s, was that the rich were entitled assholes who didn't understand anything. They were vapid. They didn't know the meaning of an honest day's work. They didn't understand having to put in effort to make things happen. These were people who were waited on, who went to private schools, who ate the best food, who drove in nice cars. I know what it's like to live a winter in Colorado with no electricity in my home, where I burned firewood to stay warm in a fireplace. And this multimillionaire wants to come at me. Why? Why do you think? What color are my hands here? Because now the narrative has changed. The rich, who are the oppressive, the arrogant, the entitled, the spoiled, the not understanding, the detached, and egocentric douche, okay? It's not the rich. It's white people. And if you try to encounter any of these racists, okay, who live in their racially segregated communities, these black supremacists and whatnot, who don't communicate ever with white people, if you ask them to describe a white person, they describe what is currently the white people meme. And what's the white people meme? People who are spoiled, arrogant, entitled, materialistic, usually rich, okay? Usually rich. Okay, the same meme that we all laughed at. Although, back in the 90s, we had this thing called the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where this black kid from the projects of West Philadelphia got to go live with his blood relatives, who were also black, but who were phenomenally wealthy and airheaded and entitled, and that was the whole Prince and the Pauper thing going on there, okay? And I've met wealthy black people. I used to live in a very STEM-heavy area, and I knew a black guy who was single, super successful, lived in a McMansion, and made somewhere in the neighborhood of $280,000 a year in his engineering job. Okay? And he had it better than I do now. But even he didn't have it as good as these NFL players who are trying to tell us that the system is racist. Well, every time we ask these people to show their work, we find out they're lying or just making shit up. You will never, ever get a progressive to describe the system with facts, because facts contradict the progressive narrative. Facts contradict the core tenet that, this race thing was built out of, which is BLM. The police are over-aggressive towards black people. And the lie detector test determined that was a lie. The facts do not support that. More white people are shot, twice as many. Okay? And if you're like, oh, if you adjust for population percentage, blacks are 2.5 times more likely to get shot. Well, black people are over 6 times more likely to commit murder or to be murdered by another black guy. Another interesting thing about those murder statistics is that it's over 90% likely that the black guy who has been murdered by another black guy. Okay? So despite being around 6% of the population, they're over 50% of the murdered and over 52% of the murderers. And over 90% of the time, it's just black on black. If you look at the white side of things, whites are fucking more like 47. Well, no. If it leaves room for others, and fucking whites are above 40%. But whites are like 80% white on white versus over 90% black on black, meaning that the race thing is still not in your favor when it comes to the righteousness side of things. But twice as many every year for the past 3 years that I've been keeping track, twice as many white people are shot and killed than blacks. Okay? And the overwhelming majority of cases where I see, a black guy got slammed or a black guy got shot, the overwhelming majority of them was the black guy was resisting arrest, violently attacking the officer, fucking pointing a gun at the cop, disobeying lawful orders to keep your hands where I can see them, because, like everybody wanted to fucking shit a brick about Philando Castile. Philando Castile had 1 million fucking arrests for driving without a license. He was driving without a license, okay? He had every reason to suspect that this guy knew that once he was pulled over, he was going to jail. Okay? Goes up there, says hands where he can see him. He says, I have a gun, officer, and then starts reaching. And he gets 3 commands. Stop reaching, don't reach for it, don't do it. And then he gets shot. And it's like, racism. Keep in mind that the guy who shot him is Hispanic. Okay? A lot of times it's not a white cop, but cops are all white. Okay? Just like all oppressors are white. All the rich are white. All the entitled are white, the egocentric, the spoiled, the greedy, the takers, the conquerors, the conquistadors, all that white. Even though that's a lie. It's not fucking true. Okay? We didn't invent racism. We ended it. We participated and then ended it. Slavery continues to this day in Africa. Slavery continues to this day in the Middle East. Slavery continues to this day in China. In America, our poor have cell phones and internet service. Our poor are on Instagram and fucking Facebook. Our poor have an obesity problem. Our poor don't starve like in China. Our poor are obese because they eat shitty food. And surprisingly, so many of these people who don't have a job can't be bothered to cook. Because one thing I've learned, it's not that hard to cook something healthy and inexpensive if you do a little bit more than put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. It's part of how I've lost a lot of weight. I used to weigh almost 250 pounds. I weigh under 170 now. I just don't eat fast food. I don't drink soda. I drink coffee. I don't eat a bunch of cereal, and I try my damnedest. I'd be even skinnier if I didn't eat freezer food. All you have to do is not eat like shit, But this is, we're not going to take personal responsibility. We have poor health because we're poor, and we're poor because white people hate us because systems of oppression. Who's the system? Who's society? Who the fuck are you talking to? And meanwhile, this whiteness that they're talking about is exemplified by these rich Hollywood elites who take every opportunity that a microphone's in front of their face to try to tell their best Trump joke. It's like the same reason dudes wore giant feathers in their cap and fucking crazy neon pantaloons and shit and were peacocking all over the place. Because it was just what rich people did to impress each other. Now what rich people do to impress each other is lie about the president. Sometimes tell the truth if any of them have bothered to do their homework, but it's so much easier to scream racism than to, you might want to mention climate change, but do you know shit about meteorology? Do you know what a fucking greenhouse gas is? Do you know what carbon emission does? Do you know what fucking the amount of parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere translates to heat retained by the atmosphere? Do you know any of the science? Do you know fucking anything? You want to talk about economics? Well, almost none of them will talk about economics. You know why? Because a lot of the wealthy try their damnedest not to pay their taxes. Because when you're wealthy, yeah, you got to pay like 50% of your money into the government, if not a little bit more. But the thing is, what you're still getting is tens and tens of millions of dollars. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, and it's all yours. But we took millions and millions and millions from you. But you're still unimaginably wealthy to 99% of America. But you still don't pay your fucking taxes. And then you want to tell us, oh, you're racist, you're un-American. We should give more to the poor. Not me, you, white middle America, who has fucking not even a tenth, if not 100th, not even 100th as much money as me. No, your burden. We're going to welcome all these refugees in here, but they're not going to be living in Orange County. No. LA Metro, you guys can take all the Somalis and the fucking Moroccans and the Pakistani who isolate and don't learn English and fucking just leech off the welfare state. Take advantage of the tax money that you don't pay into. Middle America does. And fucking... And then, or you do your best to avoid paying into. Most of you, can't avoid that because the IRS will fuck you, like Wesley Snipes. But I digress. These people don't see the burden of immigration. They don't have to compete with immigrants for work. They don't have to live with immigrants, some of which come from very savage and barbaric cultures. None of these people really have the risk of their daughter being raped or, their son being stabbed to death at school for making a joke about Muhammad or something like that. These people don't have the burden of the shit they support. They do nothing but say, I'm a good person because I'm in favor of you handling this problem. I'm not going to do shit. I'm going to kneel. I'm going to stay in the locker room. You can hold my fucking dick, fucking pieces of shit. That's what you can fucking do. You don't know shit. Nobody cares. Dude, you don't have to be a racist. You don't have to be a Trump supporter. You don't have to be a conservative to be fucking tired of progressives. All they do is lie. All they do is make shit up. All they do is say, society is so horrible, and it's the fault of people who look like me but aren't me. No. I'm fucking cultured. Okay, I'm one of the good white people. But all the rest of you who don't live in fucking Hollywood, you're all pieces of shit. Okay? If you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton and fucking sublet the extra room in your house to a fucking, Somali migrant, you're a fucking piece of shit. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to my private school. I'm going to fly in my private jet. I don't have to go on public transportation. I don't have to fucking go in any place I don't want to for food. I don't have to fucking ever go to the bus station. I don't have to ride on the train. I don't got to go on the subway. I don't have to go to public school. I don't have to eat at Denny's. I don't have to ever fucking see a person who makes less than $1 million a year if I don't fucking want to. But I'm going to tell middle America what is America. I'm going to tell you all what for. Everybody fucking hates you. Everybody, except for vapid, cunty, selfish progressives, fucking hate you. They don't hate you for the color of your skin. They don't even hate you for your politics. They hate you because you're a hypocrite. They hate you because you're a liar. They hate you because you don't know what you're talking about, and you just fucking lash out and hurt people without understanding a single fucking thing about what you're talking about, or having any responsibility for the shit you advocate. None. You're a fucking entitled, spoiled cunt, and nobody likes you. That's what this is about.